Well, I'm starting a new mileage app so that I don't have to keep track of my miles, and I don't know really how this works.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. We're not doing anything suspiciously, exactly.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying we're not going anywhere important.
Well, it is. It's to get our taxes done.
Yeah, so that's what's happening today, doing a quick trip to a few towns to the west of home base, and we're in Kim's pickup truck, and then we might go out and have something to eat, but we're sitting here as we drive trying to decide where we want to go next. And you might have some time coming up, a few weeks of an opening in your job schedule.
Yeah, we try to work them around my closings because I always like to be at closing with my buyers or sellers, and we've got some states down south that we'd like to cross off and put on our map of stickers to stay overnight, but I think that's going to be prime spring break time down south, so might want to avoid that. So I don't know if we should try to do some of the upper central, I don't even know what they call that, like the Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky.
Midwest-ish.
And that's not too far from home, that a couple of weeks might be all right for us to do something like that.
Well, that's a possibility. So we'll keep our thinking caps on and see what we want to do in between all our other work and other obligations. So anyway, that's what we talk about when we're driving, where we want to drive next.
Usually it's water-based or mountain-based, so there's one thing on my bucket list in Kentucky that I really want to see, and it's that Noah's Ark replica. And I would just love to see that, and maybe spring would be a good time to see that. So I don't know, might be something worth going to.
Onward we drive.
Was there anything that we need to do with the van before our next trip?
Well, I've got a dream list of some things that we could probably use or want, but are they absolutely necessary for the functioning of the van, or enjoying ourselves when we're camping? One thing that came up when we were gone on that short little trip here locally, we were in a couple pockets where we didn't have any cell service, or like one bar, and we talked about things that we could do to help the cell phone service.
Yep, that would be something that we could do. I don't think we're, as part-time travelers, it's not really worth doing the Starlink. It's a lot of money to invest for part-time travel. WeBoost is out there that might be worth trying. I know there's another travel internet service that's out there. I was investigating, I think last week or the week before. I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, if it's like Travel HD or something like that. That some folks were talking about in one of the van groups, that was a good deal. And if you could find something that could be at your home base and then travel with you, and do dual purpose that way. But I love our home service, our home base service. It's awesome. It's affordable. People have talked about hotspots and things like that. That would be good too, but sometimes you just need an extra boost on the signal. We had barely a bar in one of those places, and we couldn't get anything. It was just, it's hard when you're trying to research the next day's activities. You want to have, cell service, not only just to communicate with family and tell them where you are, but just to research, the next
Yep.
day.
And it's, for emergency purposes too, if you need to make a call, and then you undoubtedly will have at least one or two clients that need to be taken care of while we're on vacation. And if you don't have cell service,
I always feel bad.
yeah, because it's like you feel like you're putting them off or something.
Well, what else is on your list for wishes?
Well, I don't know if it was just because we've gotten soft and haven't been in the van like we had for a while there. We were constantly traveling and sleeping in it, but the mattresses seemed a little bit more uncomfortable this last time. We both complained about our hips hurting after laying on them, but maybe it's just...
I know what it was. We walked more than usual, and we climbed some mounds. And so we got a little more activity than we're used to, and I think that was part of it too.
Yeah. So that maybe we just need a topper on there. The other thing would be nice is we're trying to use some existing bedding that we had. We did order a custom fitted sheets for the bottom
And the mattress pad.
for the mattress and the mattress pad.
So they won't probably be big enough for a topper,
Yeah.
like an extra little foam piece or something. So those are expensive.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So,
They're hugely expensive, and and is it really? Do you get that much comfort for the dollar out of it? So that's something to consider. But it'd be nice to find somebody who's a seamstress or a sewer who could maybe adapt our bedding that we do have, trim it down, and customize it to fit a little bit better on our mattresses.
yeah, because they're, especially on mine, because mine's so short. It's just the bedding is so big, like the flat sheet and the quilts and the the comforter and stuff.
One of the other things is our quest to do more boondocking. I think some additional lighting on the van would be nice. I know we don't have any outside lights for when we would be camping in a place that's not a parking lot. And
It'd be nice to find a light that's not like right outside your door, because inevitably they draw all the bugs, right?
Yeah.
So if you're trying to do that and you're trying to get in, and anybody with dogs trying to get into a slider door, it's not a fast process. It's not like you can just dart in.
yeah.
And so that would be a challenge of trying to figure out how can you light up in the area without being right outside your door.
Yeah. And I know our headlights are stock, and I know there's replacement bulbs to get those a little bit brighter, because it's sometimes, especially if it's kind of rainy or whatever at night, it's hard to see. I don't know if maybe some auxiliary fog lights on our front bumper bar would help in seeing any critters off to the dark recesses of our backwoods roads and rural roads.
I know what I want.
Okay.
I want something that will repel every single bug against my skin. I am the center of attention for bugs, mosquitoes, no-see-ums, anything that bites or stings or whatever. They love me, and I don't love them. And I would like to get outside more, but those bugs inhibit me from going out and enjoying the outdoors a lot. Oh yeah, the ticks too, they love me. So something that would repel them a little bit better than what we've been doing, and being very diligent about that.
Yeah, so if you have any tips or tricks or bits and bobs or whatever as far as how you keep the bug count down and try to keep them away from you when you're outside wandering around. Mosquitoes are famous in Minnesota, but I think mosquitoes are famous everywhere.
Sounds like it.
So if you got some suggestions for us, please leave them down in the comments below. We'd love to hear what your suggestions are on that. So we had our meeting and had a little lunchy lunch, which was pretty good. So,
Yeah.
thank you for putting me on your business expenses.
It's what we do. We talk about work all the time.
Oh yeah, constantly. Let's talk again about the van. We were talking a little bit earlier about some of the things that we want to put to help the van be a little bit more efficient or more safe or more comfortable, and anything that you were thinking about.
I still am kind of wishing that we had a little bit of a step between the two beds, so when I'm sitting there with my feet down, they're not dangling. And I thought maybe that could still be some shoe storage or something underneath there. I know it does cause a tripping hazard when you're getting up in the middle of the night and you can't remember where the step is.
Yeah.
And it might impede the dogs and their enjoyment of the floor and all that. I would kind of like to have that, just trying to figure out if that makes sense or not, the pros and cons list kind of thing of that.
Well, it's easy to do since I built the insides there. We can add another step and try it out for a little bit, build one and put it in there. But it's true, I never thought about, taking up valuable dog floor space.
Yeah, they'll have to, step up in there to get to their water dish as well, unless we did some sort of, I just don't, they'd have to get up there because the water dish is at the end of the beds there, towards the back.
One of the other things that I was thinking about is whether or not we need to upgrade the shocks and the springs, because we're carrying the amount of weight inside the van as we are. So one of the things that I want to do here this spring is load up for a trip and then find one of those truck scales. Yeah,
I've always wanted to do that. We've never done that, so I don't know if we've ever been overweight. I'm guessing we may have been, and from time to time with all the different rigs we've had. But,
but it'd be interesting to find out whether or not we are pushing the limits of the spring load. If we need to add a leaf to our spring pack in the back, or if we need a little bit better shocks. The ride hasn't been too bad, and it doesn't look like the van's slouching in the back, but it might help out. We also talked about possibility of putting a couple inch lift kit in it just to get the bottom up a little bit, for giving us more clearance to get through on back roads if we need it. So it's not four-wheel drive. We'd still be limited to where we could go, but it would give a little bit extra clearance underneath. But then with that clearance, it gives you more height to your rig, so you'd have to be more aware of height restrictions.
well, not only that, but getting in and out, height restrictions for dogs, for me, because I'm short. Those are always things that I'm like, do we really need that? Just depends on what we come across. We see plenty of people with stock vehicles going on gravel roads and boondocking, and I'm inclined to say that's plenty. We're not going to overland or anything like that. It's fun to watch others do it, but I don't anticipate us ever doing it. For comfort-wise, one of the things I would like is a new chair. Those chairs those seats are just not super comfortable, and that are stock there. It would be nice to get something a little more comfortable. But you have to weigh the pros and cons of, how much more money do you want to spend on a rig, and it's still just a vehicle. When it comes to the end of the day, it's a vehicle, and vehicles die, vehicles break, vehicles are not, evergreen, lasting. They things can go wrong with them, and you just wonder how much you just keep socking into it. So, it's a great rig right now the way it is. I think just like with houses that I deal with people, you always end up with it would be nice to have, it would be nice to have, it'd be nice to have, but is it a must-have?
Right. One of the other items that I had thought about, and we talked about as well, is an auxiliary heater for the the living quarters in the back of the van.
Gosh, that would be almost a must-have. You know, we've got the little space heater, and I guess it holds up overnight, kind of, but it really depletes it fast.
And it doesn't put out that much warmth for the amount of energy that it sucks. So if you're driving every day and replenishing with the solar and with the alternator charging the lithium batteries, you probably could get away with it, but most of the time if it's cold weather, you're not going to have super bright sunshine, and if you're only doing short trips, that's not going to help recharge the batteries fully. So, you know, having something that sips off of a auxiliary fuel tank and that you can adjust on a thermostat and keep things a little bit warmer during the shoulder months.
My biggest fear on that, though, is that our dogs take up every ounce of floor space, and most of those heaters are installed at the floor level because heat rises, so all those little vents and things would be covered by the dogs. I mean, their fur would be right up against it, and we wouldn't be warm anyway. So I don't know if there's any kind of solution to, you know, put a heating system up higher, but we really don't have the wall space either since we have so many windows. So I don't know if we've got a solution really that makes sense from anything that we've seen so far. Maybe someday if we don't have dogs it would make sense, and until then, you know, we limp along the way we've been limping along. But I mean, all those heaters have all got that one vent that comes out the floor.
Right.
I know how the dogs are at home. They're right in front of the registers all the time. They're going to be right in front of it, blocking it, so we're freezing.
Yeah, I could say that we could mount it and have the heat register like up in one of the cabinets, but we don't have a lot of space to give up inside there. It's all the space that we have in those cabinets is being used. So to eliminate some storage space for a heater, it's one of those, you know, what's more important kind of thing, storage or not freezing to death.
Yeah, and it's, you know, if you do that, then you're, you know, having to rerun electrical and all of that, and we just had that all done, and we decided not to have one at that time for many reasons. In hindsight, you know, we could have done one, but we don't want to carry around diesel fuel for the diesel heaters. You know, I think there's some propane ones. We don't really want to do the propane ones, and we haven't seen too many of the gasoline ones that would work for us. You know, I don't know, it's just, it'd be nice, but I think it's one of those things that you say, gosh, how much money are you going to put into it? You might as well just buy an RV if you want all this stuff, you know.
Right, or just spend the money on gas and get down to a place where the temperatures are warmer.
Yeah.
Be cheaper in the long run. So that's kind of what we have on our dream list, but a lot of times those things, like Kim was saying, I mean, are they really cost effective or worth the investment for what you get out of them? And a lot of times no. So you know, we're very, very happy with the way our van is, the interior. We love that. You can always use a little bit more storage. We've toyed with the idea of looking into putting a cargo box on the back door, but you know, again, how much stuff do we really need to be hauling since we're not living out of our van? It's not our primary residence. So you know, it's like a bigger refrigerator. We really don't need a bigger refrigerator. Just take less stuff and purchase fresh more often. So,
you know, the biggest thing I think what ends up happening when you're watching other YouTubers is that they've got all these cool gadgets and toys, and you think you have to have them to be a van lifer too. And you know, that's why I like to sometimes watch these folks that do the DIY ones that have very minimal stuff, because I think that's really the reality of what it should be, because that's what we go out there for, is to just camp, you know. And I think we're trying to make these so much like home inside these vehicles. It's really hard to get all the creature comforts unless you are buying, a manufactured RV, that has all of that stuff, and we really didn't want to buy one of those. So we have to remember, we wanted to be simple. We wanted to be outside more often. What ends up happening, the more creature comforts you have inside, guess where you spend most of your time? Inside.
Yep.
So, we have to weigh all those pros and cons when you're building out a rig, for sure. Gosh, the people that have the little tiny wood stoves, I'm envious of those too. They would be awesome. But I don't see where we could put one of those in ours, the way we have it designed now. And,
No.
it's a mess, and, and all that. And there's a lot of, futzing with it. But I don't know. I like our van the way it is. I think we've designed it for our needs. It suits all of our needs. I don't think we have to have anything. I don't want to replace anything until it dies.
Yep.
Again, trying to be cost effective, trying to think ahead. After 3 or 4, layouts now, I think we've got it dialed in pretty well on what works well for us. We've been able to do everything that we want to do. I don't know. I think it's good. Don't you?
I do. I think we're pretty well dialed in. There's just a little here and there, a few convenience items might be fun, but I think we're looking good on the van. So if you have any suggestions or questions or answers about our van, or what works for you in your van or RV or truck camper, let us know. Comment down below. We love to hear from you. And thank you for subscribing. This was just kind of one of those little videos that this was kind of a Q&A with JK and Kim.
Yeah.
Kind of evaluating now after about a year or so of having the van, and a year to almost to the date for our new remodel, since we worked on it and finished it up in March of 2023. So I think that's pretty good that we checked all the boxes off with that remodel. So thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next video. And remember, any day in the van
It's a good day.
is a good day.
It is.
Unless you're in your wife's pickup truck.
Which we are today.